Hello folks, my name is Greg Delane. I'm the broker and owner of G. Delane Real Estate. I started my real estate career back in 1994. How long ago was that? These were the cell phones then. Here's how thin they are today. I developed this show because I believe that experience is the difference. My guests are experts at what they do. We come together to help make your real estate experience more pleasurable and profitable. Let's get started. Enjoy the show. Hello folks, and welcome to Real Estate Q&A with Greg Delane. I am your host, Greg Delane. I'm so happy to have you on watching our show today. I want to say I'm flying alone today. I have a bunch of people wanting to be on the show, and I'll set some things up later. Right now, it is May the 18th, 2015. It's nice and warm outside. Today I want to go over a couple of things, and one of the things I want to go over, because I've been doing this a long time, and I want to make sure that I can help inform and educate the public as well as other realtors that might be just getting into the business. One of the things I want to go over today is what somebody should look for when they want to secure an agent to help them buy a property, whatever that property might be: land, commercial, condos, co-ops, house. Most of the times when you think of securing a property and getting a great agent, you think of a house. The guy's buying a house, but it's not always the case. There are people that like to buy farmland. They like to buy property that they can have a ranch and have horses. Certainly you wouldn't look for me to find you a property to buy that you can put all your horses on. What do I know about it? I have never done that, and I'd have to be completely honest, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I have some questions that have come up over my time in this business, and I want to go over some of these questions. And also, during this show, I'm going to maybe switch to my website to just help you with something. Let's go to my website just so they can take a look at what it looks like. That's my website. And if you look to the left, and we're not going to go there right now, but if you look to the left, it says search MLS for homes. This is a way for you to look up properties just like a realtor or anybody can. Okay, let's get away from that. That's our website. It offers a lot of information. And you know, when I first got into business, they had these real big, thick books. They looked like encyclopedias. This was before the internet was so free and everybody was able to get in and do whatever they want. At that time, a person almost had if they weren't reading the paper for the real estate section, they would have to walk into an office, see what they had listed up on the wall or on the windows outside of the real estate office, and they'd have to go in and sit down with somebody and find out what they could about if a house is for sale or how much it is on the market for. That's not the way it is today. They have so many websites. They have Zillow, they have Trulia, they have Realtor.com. They have so many websites that people can look up and almost get as much information as a active real estate professional in the business. So everybody's doing this constantly. They're not getting up, spending their time walking in their office anymore. So when you look for a realtor and you want to get a guy that's going to help you and find you your first house, I have some questions that I'd like to put up. Can we post some of these? These are some of the questions we're going to be going over today. And these questions are pretty important. They're not all the questions you should be asking, but let me just read them along with you. The first question is this your full-time job? Is this what you do full-time? I mean, if you go to a doctor, you want a full-time doctor. You go to a dentist, you want a full-time dentist. You go to a realtor, you want to know that this is what they do full-time. So you're going to ask this question, is this your full-time job? Certainly, you can ask, how many clients have you serviced in this area, in this year? How many clients have you worked with? This answers two questions. First, you're talking about how many clients do they already work with, and whatever, depending on what time of the month you're talking to, like this, it's the fifth month in 2015. So if they say, well, this year I've worked with 4 people and helped get them in houses, and I have 9 other prospective clients, but I've worked with 5 that got them in properties already. They're doing they're closing a property a month, and that's good. That's good. That means they're going to do maybe 12 or 15 deals a year. That is a realtor with some very good production, and he's doing well. All right. Now, the third question, how many sales have you handled in my target neighborhood? Now, this is two reasons this is important. You want to know if they know what the local market is. And you also want to know, when you ask this question, how many sales have you handled in my target neighborhood? You want to know how many sales they have done. You don't want to know how many sales their office has done. That's great that their office, and you see their signs everywhere, but you want to kind of know how many sales they have done. Let's go back to me. I just want to make sure that you can see. This is important to me. When you ask somebody that question, how many sales have you handled in my target neighborhood? When a person wants to work with somebody, they want to know what you can do for them. It's great, and I think all these big companies are great. I was with a big company for a few years, maybe 6 or 7 years before I opened up my company. Big companies have a lot of bells and whistles to help new agents, to train and keep experienced agents on their game, and they do a lot of marketing, and a lot of stuff is free because they pay the cost. And they're great big companies, and I know a lot of fantastic, great agents with big companies, no question. Everybody has a different kind of entrepreneur thing in them. I certainly have mine. That's why I opened up my own company. I had another kind of entrepreneurship in me when I went into real estate, and I worked for Mr. Nick Wolf, great friend of mine. He had Century 21 Wolf. When I was at that level, that's where I was at. Everybody does things for a different reason. Eventually, I might close my office at some point and join a big company, because I don't want to be a broker and handle all the E&O insurance and all that nonsense that I have to keep in place today to be licensed to do what I do in New York. But when you ask somebody, how many homes have you helped put buyers in? You want to know what they have done. You don't want to know really what their company has done. You want to know what you're doing. Buyers and sellers want to know what you're going to do for me to help me. That's great that you got 300 offices. You're the 3rd biggest company in the world. That's wonderful. They're only going to meet you. They're not going to meet Mr. Keller or Mr. Williams. They're not going to meet Mr. Houlihan or Mr. Lawrence. They're dealing with you. They're not going to meet, and you as that agent, Mr. and Mrs. brand new agent, buyers and sellers want to know what just you, are going to do for them, because they're not going to meet all these other people. Not to say that that big machine is not going to be working behind that agent to help them, but their trust is in you and you alone. So that's very important. All right, let's get back to the questions. Here's another one. What sets you apart from other agents? What sets you apart from other agents? You need to be able to speak of yourself and show your desire, and you know, you have to be able to make some real statements about yourself, why people should believe in you and believe that you know what you're doing, period. If you don't know how to speak for yourself and say, listen, it can be, and for new agents, it doesn't have to be that you have to start trying to create stuff. It's very simple. You got to say, listen, I'm new in this business. I don't have a lot of clients and a lot of contacts and a lot of sellers and listings, but just like you see a little puppy chasing his tail in a circle, that's what I will do for you, because you're my one and only client. And if you're my one and only client, I will do everything I can for you. And any answer that I can't answer for you, I will have that answer for you tomorrow by 3 o'clock, because I'll be speaking to my broker tonight. You pull out your pen and say, exactly, what was that question again? Don't have the answer for everything. If you're new, don't have it. It's all right to say, I don't know. I have friends today that ask me things. I say, I don't know. Let's Google it. It's all right to say you don't know, but be honest about what you're doing. Just say, you know what? I remember telling 2 or 3 people. I didn't get all the deals, but when I first got into business, I would say, listen, I am brand new in this business. I am relentless at getting the job done. You will not meet another person like me that won't. I call my clients so much, they say, Greg, just call me on Saturdays, because I was with them, telling them, on top of them. Sometimes when realtors are in this business a little, not too long, but they get long in the tooth. That's an old saying. They get long in the tooth. They tend to think that they don't have to do the same things that they did when they got into business. Now, they might need to work smarter, and all of us do that. But there was an old song when I was growing up in Oakland, California, called The Same Thing It Took. Me and the guy was singing to his girlfriend and to the guys, and it meant the same thing it took to get her is the same thing it takes to keep her. And that's the same thing in this business. You have to have the same desire and the same need and desire to help the public and teach them how this business is done as you did when you first got in the business. Not that you're not gonna waste all your gas as much as you did then. You're gonna work smarter. You might have a team. You have some assistants to do it. But you can't compromise and prostitute your standards. You have to be on point, be honest, and do the right thing. All right, let's go back to another question. All right, another question. Has a client ever filed a complaint against you? Now, this is a big one. In this business, sometimes things don't go the way you want them to go. And it gets to where somebody says, well, he told me I could use this as a 2-family house, and it's only a 1-family, and you're getting some problems, and a client files a complaint against you to the state board. This is a difficult question to ask an agent. You know, you might feel uncomfortable about saying, have you ever had a claim filed against you as a realtor? That's a little personal for some people. Me, not a problem, because they're going to be asking you some real personal stuff, you know, about how much money you got when you got to meet with the mortgage guy. You have to pay any alimony. You have child support. What's your total income? I need to know your income versus debt. They're going to ask some personal things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. So asking this question, it might be a little difficult for you, but you can still find out that answer if you check with the state board. You can find if anybody's filed a claim against them. So if you don't want to ask that question, you can find out. You can find out. You can call the Board of Realtors and ask them what number or what website it is that I can go on to. I want to see if this realtor ever had a claim filed against them, here or anywhere else. All right, that's another question you can ask. But here again, let me just say this also, Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate Agent or Associate Broker. When you create something that's legal or untrustworthy, and there's a problem and there's a lawsuit, that's why brokers have, or offices have, E&O insurance. But when you file, or when you misrepresent or do something wrong or say something that's not right, that lawsuit jumps right over your head and hits the broker. You know, that's why when you list a property, it's signed under the company, and the broker is actually the person who has that listing. You're representing the listing, but the broker has it. And that broker has the same responsibility when you're not doing the right thing out here and you get in trouble. It goes over your head and hits the broker. The broker has to answer to your behavior. That's why the broker is supposed to train and go over new things and new laws. And that's why there's continuing education. That's why he has to train his agents to do the right thing and tell the truth. And here's the new laws. Don't say this. Don't do this. It's very simple. It's very simple for complicated people. We think we know everything and we try to do a little too much and say too much. The best thing about sales is to keep your mouth shut and listen to what they want. You know, you can't have all the answers. I had an agent about 4 years ago. He had all the answers. He's no longer with us. I will tell you that I had to ask him to leave. But he had all the answers, and he didn't even know what the new questions were. You know, imagine that. So let's go back to the list. Okay. Has a client ever filed a complaint against you? That's a difficult question to ask, but you can ask, and if they don't want to share that with you, you can look it up. Let's see. When am I committed to working with you? When am I committed to working with you? That's a good question. Many consumers start touring homes without realizing this can obligate them to work with that agent. And depending on what you signed, we're going to talk about that a little bit too. You can sign an exclusive right to represent, and you need to look these things up. You know, when I first got into business, everybody was a seller's agent. Everybody. There was no buyer's agents. So it got a little complicated because if I'm listing a house if there's a house listed and I'm supposed to be working for the seller who I've never met, and I start showing the house to somebody and I realize they go to my church, their kids go to school with my kids, we start to build a relationship where eventually I'm not working for the seller anymore. Me and this guy play on the same softball team. I'm not working with the seller. I'm supposed to be a seller's agent. I'm working more for the buyer. So the state of New York and created buyers and sellers agents. So certainly if somebody calls me on the phone and asks me some questions that I think are a little improper about a listing I have, I will ask them very directly, are you a seller's agent or a buyer's agent? Because if you're working for the seller, then I can see you asking these questions. If you're working for the buyer, you have no right to ask certain questions of me because you're representing the buyer. All right? So with that, they came out with companies that are exclusive buyers agencies. So all your work will be with the client that you're representing to buy a house. I struggle a little bit because there's companies that have exclusive buyers agency kind of situations, and they have people sign up. You're locked into that agent. And it throws me, and this is just my opinion, it throws me if that same office has listings. Because if they have listings and they're listing properties too, but they're exclusive, they got agents doing exclusive buyers agency, what about if they want to see one of the houses that they have listed? Then that creates dual agency, another story. So I just feel that if you're a buyer's agent office, that's all you should do. You shouldn't list the property. That's just me. That's my opinion. I don't want anybody to say, hey, I'm suing Greg for what he said, that comment. So it's a legitimate comment, but I don't want to get into it at this point. All right, let's go back to the screen. We have another couple questions. The last one, what's your fee and who pays it? That's a great question because a lot of people ask, well, who pays who? That question, when you're working with a buyer and you're going to look at a property and they say, well, who pays your fee? When I first got into business, the seller of whatever property, vacant land, ranch, condo, commercial property, house, co-op, doesn't matter. When I first got into property, the agent bringing in the buyer was paid from a split of the seller's commission to his agent. The seller pays his listing agent or the listing office who's listing that house a certain percentage. It used to be 6. I saw people getting 4. There were a company that came out 2%. They're no longer around anymore. But that, say if it's 4%, then that is usually split. And the person bringing in the buyer gets 2%, and the person listing the house gets 2%. So usually the agent representing the person bringing them in on the deal gets his commission from the other office, from the listing office. But now with this buyer's agency exclusive stuff, you got to kind of know, am I going to owe you something? Ask these questions. And you need to know. Because if he's a buyer's agent representing you, and he's supposed to be representing you at your fullest, wouldn't you want to know if the reason he possibly could be showing you this house is because there's a bonus to whoever brings in the buyer by June 15th. Have me in contract by June 15th, and I'm going to give the buyer's agent who puts me in this deal by June 15th an added $3,000. If he's representing you and you're working with a buyer's agent, you want to know, is there something that's driving you to show me certain properties? That's just me. But listen, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. And if I think that you're showing me all these certain cars, if I want to buy a car and every lot you take me to says Taylor car dealership, and I find out that you used to be married to that family, your last name used to be Taylor, then I'm kind of concerned at why you keep showing me that. There might be better deals up the street. So it's not a crazy question to ask somebody, what's your fee and who pays it? Find out. Because you don't want to sign an exclusive right to represent, and it says on that exclusive right to represent that you are going to make sure whatever deal that you're in is you're going to get at least a 2.5%. Your agent's going to get at least a 2.5% commission. What about if the other office is only paying 2? Who pays that 0.5%? You? Ask the question. Ask the question. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask. Ask the question. Let's go back to my website. I want to see if I can come up and show you something. When you go to my website, that lovely, lovely lady touching my shoulder right there, that's the boss. And she doesn't do these shows, but that's the boss. On my website, let's see if we can get to the multiple listing service. Search the MLS. Let me see if it can go there. See what happens. Search the MLS. All right, let's go back to me, and I'll be able to see if it comes up while it's on there. We only got about 4 or 5 more minutes. But I want people to know that you can go to my website and search the MLS for free. There are a lot of sites that you go on and they want you to register and get involved. The reason, once you register, not that it's going to happen all the time, but people are going to, you ready to buy the house? You ready to, let's get going. I'd rather you search my website as long and as much as you want to for free, because there's enough information. My site ain't the only site. There's a lot of big, great offices that have sites that you can go to for free. Now, they might want you to put your email in and whatever you have to do. All right, let's go back to my site. Let me see if I can get on the MLS. Here's my site. About us, testimonies, recent sales, contact us, search the MLS. I clicked on that. I go to this page. Let's see if it happens. Yeah, there you go. All you have to do is go to the bottom of this page and click I accept, because this is given to us by the MLS and this is connected. So you have to be able to say yes. Now, once you go on here, let's go down here real quick. Let's do a quick search. Let's go. I want Westchester County and I want zip code. See, if it's a condo, you can put the complexes in. Look at all the places you can search. Sullivan County, Ulster County, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Now, you know what? I don't know if you can get that far, but anyway, we're just going to deal with this right now. Westchester County. You're looking for a single family house. I want my house to be between the range of 250 and 700,000. That's kind of, let's go a little higher. 350 and 700,000. Now let's go to a zip code, 10603. Let's see if we have anything. Search. See, there you go. And with this, you can look up, here's houses. This is great for buyers and sellers. It starts at the most expensive, $699, and it goes down in price. You click on this, you can get pictures of inside the house. Okay, let's go back to me real quick. I want to just say this because we only have about a minute and a half. When you go on this site, this is great if you're an agent. Well, no. This is great if you're a person thinking about listing your house. You may as well look up your competition, see how much other houses are selling for, and you can click on there and look at the pictures. See how well their house is kept. See what they did. See, because your house has to compete with theirs. If you go in and see, wow, they put in a new kitchen, the bathrooms have been updated, the hardwood floors have been redone and polyurethane stained and sealed. You can look at your competition to see what you're up against. I have a great website. It's easy for you to get into and find what you want. My job is to inform the public the best I can with everything that I know about real estate and kind of help them out. We'll talk about some other things later, but I think this was a pretty good show. I try to help agents understand what they should be doing, and I want people thinking of getting an agent to understand what they should be looking for in an agent. All right? Well, listen, this was a great show. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next show, and our next show is going to be about what people should do when they list their properties, what agents they should be looking for. All right? Talk to you later.